when you hit start streaming in OBS, because oftentimes it's 60, 90 seconds. This was a 15-second day, which means something else is going to break.
Everything's going to break. I mean, that everything's going to break.
Yeah, you don't get through that and not have any other issues the rest of the stream. So buckle up, folks. We might be doing this from Jordan's hotel room again. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 426. Your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and cocktails and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm Vince.
Hello again. Thank you for joining on late notice.
Yep.
It's usually how I catch you is I'll ping you about 3 in the afternoon and go, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?"
It's like, all right, let's go party tonight.
Yeah, let's hit the town. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, cocktails, tech, all things servers, home lab, anything else we're interested in, gaming, hardware. We run the full gamut over here. Today's episode is brought to you by Meter. More on them later in the video. If you like the content you see on this channel, want to help support us in what we do, consider joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description, and it helps keep the lights on around here. Plus, you get to join my awesome Discord server and hang out with the awesome people who are there throughout the week. Last but not least, if you really want to help support the channel, craftcomputing.store. Go grab yourself some pint glasses, whiskey stones, rocks glasses, bottle openers, all kinds of stuff to start drinking like a pro. Welcome to the show. How you doing, sir?
It's definitely been a week.
Yeah. Me too, actually, as it turns out.
Yeah, and I noticed you're out of town for a bit, and then you came back and had a video about that this morning.
Yes, yeah. Last week, Rhett and I were down in sunny San Jose, California. It was about 92 degrees for all 3 days that we were there. It was beautiful as always. It's always fun to go down there. I'm in the Bay Area probably between 6 and 8 times a year anymore for various things.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nvidia's GTC. Vera Rubin is officially official, and all the power requirements that are going to come with that bad boy are officially official. 350 watts for VR 200, 600 plus kilowatt for VR 300 when that launches late this year. So it's spicy.
Yeah, I always love watching when you go down there because I've been in and out of that convention center for the better part of 20 years now.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, outside of all this tech stuff, who I used to be, a professional photographer, as like one of my 20 jobs that I do, right? Mm-hmm. In the cosplay community, one of the largest conventions in North America is in that convention center.
Yeah.
And so starting in 2007 on forward, I photographed every freaking square inch of that building. And before and after the construction, because they massively expanded it too about maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They used to have that cool library right outside, but they tore that out to add more convention center space.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like, every time you post a picture from there, I'm like, I know the exact square inch you're standing.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, no, I know that area of San Jose quite well at this point. I frequent San Jose and Santa Clara Convention Center both, and so
Yep.
Anything within a 1.5-mile radius, I can walk there and tell you down to the inch where every restaurant, every hotspot, every bar, everything is. So,
Yep.
always fun. Jay chimes in with his $2 super chat. Thank you very much, Jay. Is Vince giving Jeff Bridges to anyone else tonight? A little bit of the dude going on. A little bit of
Yep.
Yeah. I can see that.
Like I said, it's been a week.
Yeah. Yeah. It has been a week because we got back, got the videos edited. Second one goes live tomorrow. That one is going to be super exciting. I got to take a camera into a data center, into a secure data center. and film it and publish what I saw in there. And it's not a super long video, but it's really cool to see things like a GB200 NVL72 SuperPod in full production.
Yeah, I will say those of us who have worked in the data center field, we've totally not taken our cell phones in there. And I've never done that. I've never taken my cell phone into a data center.
Of course not. Yeah, you're not supposed to. I mean.
Yeah. So like it's never been in there. So don't look at my photo archives.
Yeah. Yeah. Here, in fact, today I know I talked about this briefly on the show last week, but I've actually got pictures that I can show today. So here's half of the GB200 install for this particular set of racks. Yeah, that was quite fun.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, at this point in time, I don't think cameras and data centers really matter too much anymore, because we all know it's going to be like the hyperscalers are going to have perfectly cable managed, like the cable porn thing going on.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be like, your fiber optic running to it and your power running to it, and that's it. There's two different types of cables, and otherwise there's not much else to see. You
say that. Of all the things that they went, yeah, take a picture of that, take a picture of that. We couldn't take pictures outside the building. We couldn't take pictures in the hallway, even though it was secure, airlocked, maze of hallways, intentionally confusing. The facility that we walked to, we had to enter in one building, go up to a sky bridge to go to an adjacent building that has no exterior doors or windows.
Yep.
That is the only way into this second set of the building. And we couldn't take pictures of the inside of any of that. We could only take picture of this particular client's cage. They were totally cool with taking any kind of picture that we wanted, except for the water cooling manifolds.
Yes.
That is still like trade secret in a lot of cases. Certain data centers have certain flow, connection, piping layouts, whatever. That is actually pretty need to know information, depending on who you talk to.
Yeah, so it's like when I make that statement, it's like I'm talking about the racks basically, because that's the photos you'll always see of data centers.
Yeah,
you'll be hard pressed to find photos of the rest of the infrastructure in a data center.
Correct. Yeah. Anyway, on that happy note, it is Mixology March, and so let's go ahead and make a cocktail for the night. I know you're probably not partaking tonight, but I'm going to go ahead and make myself one. So,
I will have a fancy drink once the show is over.
Excellent.
So, I'll just give a quick, while you're working on that,
Sure.
I'll give a quick TLDR for all the fans in the audience. Basically, I'm about a week post-op, recovery from surgery. So I'm a little bit more mild on what I'm doing tonight. I've got, my Mariners cup of water here, and I'm wearing my Mariners jacket, getting ready for tomorrow opening day.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So like and also odd timing of everything. Jeff knows this already. Today just happens to be my birthday, so friends and I are going to go out. I'm going to get one drink and one drink only tonight, and then come right back home and crash.
Nice. All right. So we are opening up tonight with a cocktail called the White Lady. Today is rum day on the channel. I decided to make all rum cocktails. The funny thing about rum day is I went to grab my bottle of rum, which is a little bit older bottle and has been on my shelf for quite a few years. It had something growing in it. And I went, well, surely I've got other bottles of dark rum, right? Like, I should have 4 or 5. Like, there's got to be a bottle of Sailor Jerry's or 2 within my house. There's usually a Malibu. There's usually a something else. The only other dark rums that I have right now I have a Kraken Coffee. Okay. I have a Distillation East Side Coffee. And I have a Myers Blackstrap. And so we're going super, super dark. Probably not the way this cocktail was imagined, but that's the way I'm going to make this one tonight, is a white lady with Myers Blackstrap rum. So first thing I did was juice half of a lemon into a Collins shaker there. We're going to do 1.5 ounces of rum.
Got to get you one of those overhead cameras setups.
I've done a webcam before, and it honestly doesn't show that much different. Like I find if I hold the bottles up, unless I'm doing something cinematic, the overhead camera sucks too. Like, okay, cool, I saw you poured in the shaker. Ooh. Like, I don't feel it adds that much. We're going to do just 1/4 ounce of simple syrup. And so I got some homemade turbinado simple syrup here. And then we're going to do 3/4 ounce of orange liqueur. And I've got just a Grand Gala orange liqueur. It's probably my go-to in my cabinet. There we go. And we'll give that a shake.
Good old shake.
There you go. Get the smile in there.
Yeah, come on, act like a YouTuber.
There we go. By the way, the craft computing glass works excellent for that as well. And then this usually calls to be strained neat, but I'm going to go ahead and drop one giant rock into my glass because I plan on sipping this for the next 45 minutes to an hour. So, got our glass there. And there we have the White Lady.
Nice. So, a couple things in chat real quick. We got Novella chiming in, 67 months. Happy birthday, Vince. Circuit Rewind.
Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you very, very much. $5 from Green Protag, one of our most common, frequent, awesome people in Discord and chat here. x86 translation on Android is getting very good and easy to implement. Any chance we will see any related content, several indie games on sale?
Yes.
Just one word, yes.
I have in my possession, I know Green, you've seen it, but I have an Ein Thor, an AYN Thor, one of the, not the Max, but the Pro model, and so it's the middle ground, 12 gigs of RAM, but the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 or 3, I don't remember which one. But it's not the Snapdragon 865 of the base model. I have been playing the crap out of Fallout 3 on that handheld. I've got a couple of other games installed as well. I have Diablo 2 Resurrected, the remaster for Diablo 2 on there.
Which, weirdly enough, Blizzard just added a new DLC for.
Yeah! They added a whole new character class.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet, but that just came out of nowhere. No hints, no warning, no nothing. Just
27 years later.
Just, by the way, here, have new content. And we're just like, it's not April 1st. What's going on?
Right? Yeah. No, that caught me completely off guard. As well as everyone else. It's like, oh, Diablo 4 dropped some new. Diablo 2 dropped a new DLC. Like that's how I read that headline a couple weeks ago. One of the coolest things that I've seen done is people playing Fallout 4 for PC on the Ein Odin, or on the Ein Thor, which is a dual screen handheld. So they're playing Fallout 4 1080p on an OLED 6-inch screen, and then they have the Android companion app open in the bottom screen with the Pip-Boy open, so you can touch the Pip-Boy and interact with your game.
That is just too awesome. In the next few weeks, I have some hardware in the mail. I'm going to be picking it up at PDX Land. I don't want to say quite what I'm getting just yet. It's a toy. But let's just say I've been looking at ARMed x86 translation and running Windows binaries on ARM devices. It's a thing.
Yep.
I mean, kind of like what you're just talking about with Android.
Yep.
But this would be specifically the Windows versions of games.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious how far I can push this.
Yeah.
And yes, the very first game I'm testing is Crabs.
Of course, yeah. We were talking earlier in the Discord about the new Intel card that dropped, the B70 Pro, which we'll talk about here in just a second. And you immediately chimed in and said a 32 gigabyte card is not a gaming card. And I think I said, clutches my Strix Halo box. Shh, you can play Crabs if you want to. It's okay.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, I get it. I understand it. It's like there's the market segment something is intended for, and then there's the market segment that we make it for. Well, I mean, just going back historically, all the stuff that we're doing today with like vector processing, matrix math, all this other crap, started with gaming hardware.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it started well before that. I mean, it started well before we were even born, but like the modern era of it came about because some nerds at a college were like, hey, like we're doing all this complicated multiplication matrix math stuff. We have CPUs, they're not fast enough. We like playing games. We have this GPU that can do all this in parallel. Let's shove the workload there and see what happens. And they were blown away by the performance and literally transformed an entire like industry and world from it.
Yeah. But not a lot of people know the origins of GPU versus CPU, because for the longest time it was, hey, let's make the fastest thing that we can do at whatever instruction set we're throwing at it. And you ended up with, fairly fast, but single thread, single instruction at a time, but millions of operations per second CPUs. And originally that's what they started developing graphics processors to be with very early 3D, with vector, with some other things, it was all very highly single threaded.
Well, not quite. They were, it was fixed function hardware. So it wasn't even single threaded in that it was a processor. It's, you had fixed function, pixel processing pipelines. So if you go back to like DX6, DX7 era of GPUs, we didn't have the concept of shaders yet.
Right.
So MIP mapping was a feature. Like transform and lighting was a feature. Like all these things were features because every single like way you wanted to tweak and modify textures and pixels, you had to physically make hardware to do that.
Yep.
And then Nvidia came out and was like, why don't we just put all of this math this complicated math into the thing that you can program? And of course, history repeats itself infinitely. That very first, I believe it was the GeForce 3 that had it first. The performance on the card was dog crap slow comparatively. Yeah. Because of the fact that they did, like you said, it was basically a single threaded pipeline at that point with processing on the GPU chip itself. But the fact it was programmable meant developers can do anything at that point. But as we see, like, it started crap, they kept developing it, and it got better. I mean, just about every technology we've seen with GPUs has started like as something that was slower than the original, but it opened up a world of flexibility and just gotten so much better over time. Yeah. And I'm just going to say this to all the haters for DLSS 5, I see the potential there.
I said kind of the same thing. And in defense of DLSS 5 and in a very minor defense of Jensen sticking his foot in his mouth, of like gamers don't know what they need, don't you guys have phones moment, is, look, 5 years ago we said we don't need DLSS 1. We said we don't need ray tracing. We said we don't need all these other things. And there's some idiots who still stand by those statements, but at the same time, independent studies have shown that somewhere around 70% of gamers prefer having DLSS because we prefer faster frame rates. Sure, if you pixel peep, DLSS 4, 4.5, still has some artifacting, still has some things that it doesn't handle quite perfectly. But you know what? When people are gaming, they're usually not pixel peeping, and the artifacts have gotten so slight and so reduced from what they were, they're basically invisible unless you go frame by frame and analyze things.
So, like, just to go back on what chat's saying right now, people have mixed opinions, but no, like I said, I see the potential. It's not what it looks like today. And that's the whole point. This is not today's technology. They're showing a snapshot, a preview of what they're working on 6-8 months down the road.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's not going to be perfect on day one, and none of this technology has ever been perfect day one. Just like I said with these programmable pipelines on the GeForce 3 was not perfect on day one. It takes time to develop these things and make it good, and you have to get it in the right people's hands to be able to do the good stuff with it.
Ray tracing and ray tracing hardware was not ready to go in 2019 on day one.
Dude, go look at every single review of the 2080.
Yeah.
Every single review slammed it in saying there's no reason to get a 2080 over a 1080.
Yep.
Because raster performance is the same. Ray tracing performance doesn't matter because the few titles that use it suck.
Yep.
Not that the games suck, it's just the implementation and the performance and everything sucks.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a good enough, noticeable enough improvement in quality.
Right.
Yeah, every single review of it was bad.
Yep.
And look where we are today.
Yep.
Like Indiana Jones, it's now a requirement.
Oblivion remaster, it's either now a requirement or you have to software ray trace. You have to do pixel estimates. And honestly, and a lot of people said this at the time, if you implement ray tracing properly, it is easier and better. You get a better result. It is easier to program. It is easier to implement because all you're doing is telling the game what is the physical properties of the thing that you're supposed to be rendering. And so, is it reflective? Is it shiny? Is it glossy? Is it matte? How does it reflect light?
Yeah.
And you let the GPU take care of how and why.
Go look at actual rendering pipelines, like those large diagrams that artists use.
Yeah.
This is just another box in the 100 boxes that they have when they're setting up materials. Also, on that note of pixel peeping on the other DLSSs and whatnot, in chat right now, Mario Kart World, how many people know that it uses upscaling? And if you look very closely, your kart and the rest of the world are rendered entirely independently of each other, and you actually have a fuzzy outline around your kart where they're superimposing it.
Yep.
I have never actually seen that in a single review yet.
Yeah.
I notice it maybe once every 20 times I play.
When it was announced that Nvidia was creating the APU, the processor, the chip for the Switch 2, and that it was going to be Ampere based, it's essentially an RTX 3050. It's a very cut down RTX 3050. I went, they're going to use DLSS. They're going to use all the Nvidia goodies of upscaling, because they have bare metal access to do all those things. All the APIs are already written. They're very mature. And when Nintendo came out and said, you can game in 4K in docked mode, I went, well, yeah, absolutely. They're using DLSS. They don't have to tell you because it's a console. And you know what? No one cares.
Cool thing Nintendo put out, it's been, maybe 2 weeks ago, they just did a firmware update on the Switch 2. So you can tell Switch 1 games on a Switch 2 that you're in docked mode while handheld. Because on Switch 1, you got basically 720p handheld, 1080p docked.
Yeah.
And so now you can do the higher resolution of Switch 1 titles while handheld on the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because they came out and just flat out said, this is not going to be perfect. It's going to be buggy in games.
Yeah.
And the reason for it is specifically that lazy developers are lazy. And some of them were like, oh, we can just use the docked, undocked flag within the operating system to say what controller method we support.
Yeah.
So if you're handheld, you have Joy-Con attached. If you're docked, you have you don't have Joy-Con attached.
Yeah.
And so having the Joy-Con attached handheld on Switch 2 running Switch 1 in docked mode, your Joy-Con in some games don't work anymore. Just because developers are lazy.
Yep.
And that's not something Nintendo can really fix with like emulator tweaks or anything.
Right.
It's like you either get you get the toggle, right? You can say which mode you want to run it in. So for some games you get controller support or you get high resolution, and you have to choose between the two. But I mean, developers are gonna update their games eventually, hopefully.
Yeah.
Granted, there is 17,000 titles, so it's...
Yeah, who updates and at what speed? Yeah, we'll find out, I think, as we go. But the fact that they enabled it, the fact that they're allowing developers what is essentially an easier pipeline to deliver a better quality product to Switch 2 users in handheld mode, thumbs up, Nintendo. Like, I think that's awesome, and that's not a step that a lot of developers, let alone hardware developers, will take, is compromising 5% of whatever, or going like, yeah, we're going to allow certain bugs, or just let people know, hey, a couple of titles aren't going to work all that great, rather than a blanket binary yes or no answer.
Yeah, this is definitely a huge shift for Nintendo, because Nintendo has been we want everything flawless.
Yeah.
Not graphics, experience. We want user experience flawless. And so this actually enters that middle ground where they're like, we will let the user actually make the decision this time. So that's, I mean, good on them. And I'm sure they can put, pressure, and users can put pressures on developers to fix the minor bugs in their games at that point.
Yep. Speaking of graphics, there's a new graphics card on the market, set for launch in literally 1 month, on April 24th.
Yeah, you said something about 32 gigs earlier.
Yeah.
It's not a gaming card.
That's not a gaming card. But it is a card that has been left for dead more times than I can possibly count, and that is Big BattleMage is finally upon us. Not the little chip, not the 500 series chip. This is the full fat. How many execution cores was this? I do not recall.
All of them.
Yeah, 32 XE cores. There we go. So this is based on XE2 BattleMage. This is not the XE 2.5 that the latest Intel Mobile Panther Lake has been getting, but it is the full fat 32 execution unit chip. The really interesting thing about this is they're not launching it as a gaming card. They're launching it as a workstation card, specifically for media and AI inference. And so things like video editing, where you have large workflows or lots of plugins or multiple tracks or whatever else, you need to keep all that in memory. Or a pretty solid AI inference card. I mean, 32 gigs... The cheapest new card that you can get with 32 gigs is the 5090 for what is it, $2,800 today, I think, at bargain basement prices, maybe even over $3,000. So 32 gigabytes, $949.
Yeah, in your Discord, it was being compared to the 3090 in terms of price and rendering, the actual like raster performance.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so from a gaming standpoint, this is just a lower wattage 3090.
Right.
Which is great, right?
Yeah.
But then you add that extra 8 gigs RAM, and it may not seem like much. Going from 24 to 32 in the AI inference space, there's a lot of models that are optimized specifically at the 32 gig target. And so they would significantly struggle on 24, but run perfectly fine at 32.
Yeah, and the reason being is most previous gen cards that they've gone back to support, think the V100, think the A100, think cards like that. Those are all in that 32 gigabyte roughly space.
Yeah.
And so it's a very common memory amount for people to optimize for. 24, not so much. 24, you've got to go back to the P40, P100 era, so Pascal era days, to get down to a 24 as like a standard data center card. And that's just not supported at this point. The really interesting thing about this card is, I think, less the memory amount, but you get a full 256-bit bus with 610 gigabytes per second of memory bandwidth. And so, again, speaking as an AI inference card, look, it's not as fast as a 5090, but it's up there.
So I looked this up specifically. That's actually not that high of a memory bandwidth for GPUs.
Right.
So again, like your Discord was comparing it to the 3090, so I looked up the 3090, which is in the 800 to 900 gig a second range.
Correct.
So I mean, this is no slouch at the 600 that it's at.
Right.
But it's like I would call it more average rather than like high end. So the memory bandwidth puts it in an interesting predicament that, considering how much it has and the performance it has of it, I'm really curious to see what this can do with inference tasks.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, I do believe it said it was what, Gen 5 by 16.
Yeah, let me double check.
I do believe that's what it was. Which again, like it's designed like. I do believe this card is more designed to be stacked in servers or, like workstation chassis more so than just a solo card.
Yes, 5x16.
Yeah. So you have like really, really nice GPU to GPU performance.
Yeah.
So I could easily see somebody rocking, 4 of these for 128 gigs of inference.
Sure.
I would love to see how well this scales out, basically.
Yep. But 2 different models of cards. There is the B70, 32 gigabytes, XE2. There's also the B65, which is also 32 gigabytes. This one, I believe, cuts down on a couple. I know it cuts down on matrix extensions.
Lower XE cores?
Yeah, it's 28, 26 XE cores, something like that. So, less than a third cut down.
Yeah.
But
that would make a good home lab AI inference card.
Yeah, I think so.
Like I know you have Cosworth in your Discord who's doing a lot of the image processing stuff.
Excuse me, 20 XE cores. So
okay,
2/3.
Yeah, but like thinking of like Cosworth's image processing that he does for his security cameras, I think this would be a great card for something like that.
Yeah.
Plus, just the power draw range of these is phenomenal.
Right.
What we get compared to like some of the big players from Nvidia.
Yeah, 230 watt nominal. It will go up to 290 if you want to push it, although you're only getting a couple % more performance, likely. That's the story with most graphics cards. Once you cross a threshold, it's diminishing returns very quickly. But yeah, 230 watt rated, 200 watt on the B65. If you consider a 3090, the card that everyone's comparing this to, that's a 330 to 350 watt card with only 24 gigs of VRAM.
Yeah, Jay in chat mentions that the 3090 has gotten more expensive. But the thing is that like the price of those cards, like the 3090, will I think be directly impacted by the availability of this card. Because a lot of the price shoot up, I mean, with everything right now, it's not just data center AI. You have to look at like all the market segments. It's why like even like normal hard drives are expensive now, is because like the fact that like the hyperscales are bought out the top of the market. Anybody who is buying lower volume in that top of the market can't anymore, so they've shifted down by one.
Yep.
They've bought out that market, then the next people buy below that.
Yep.
And so like everything's gotten pushed down a chain for where people are buying. And that's pushed into the home lab space because there's a lot of people doing either small business purchases or home lab setups for LLM or AI inference, and that's kind of what's affecting like the 3080s, 3090s, that kind of market right now. So like if this card is available, that's going to help ease like this segment of the market that we're in, specifically in the cute little home lab scene.
Yeah. Speaking of home lab, I've got a project coming up in mind that I think people might be interested in. First and foremost, to pull this project off, I'm going to need some more power. So my home lab as it exists today, I have two 20 amp circuits behind my rack. One of them powers my chest freezer, and I use it for my air conditioner in the summer. My rack mount air conditioner that I only have to run usually about 2 months. The other 20 amp goes directly to my rack, and that's hooked to a UPS unit. Technically, at 20 amp, you could draw about 1800 watts constant load on that circuit without fretting. I have a 1000 watt or a 1500 VA UPS. And so I really can't run constant load beyond 1000 watt on my rack right now because I'd have to bypass the UPS to do so. I can, and I've done testing that way when I've had like Xeon 6 in the office, and that draws, 1200 watts at a time just by spinning it up. But I got a new box in the mail the other day that's going to live in my home lab for a while. We'll just say it here now. Supermicro sent me a present. That they asked if I wanted to review an AMD Turin server, and I said absolutely. That sounds like a lot of fun. I've done content on Supermicro servers before as like small business servers and edge AI clusters and things like that. And so I said, yeah, that could be fun. And they go, oh, by the way, when this one's been around the review circuit a couple times, so when you're done with it, you can keep it. All right. Okay, cool.
That's awesome.
And so it arrived. And by the way, I knew the chassis that I was receiving. I did not know the processors or anything else that I was receiving. Inside is a pair of AMD EPYC Turin 9965s.
Fun.
192 cores, 384 threads each. So 384 core, 768 thread. And 24 channels of DDR5 6400.
God dang. So you know what we have to do with that, right?
We need to run Crysis on CPU.
Well, no. So I was thinking that first as the joke, but I have a better one that we can actually test at some point. You do know I still have that PCI Express to AGP adapter, right?
Oh.
We need to shove a Voodoo 5 into this thing.
I think that needs to happen. One of the things that I'm going to do with this is, oh, by the way, those 9965s, they have single-threaded boost mode of 5.4 gigahertz, Zen 5. So it's a multi-core server, and it will work for gaming. Like, exceedingly well.
That is amazing.
And so I'm going to actually retest all of my vGPU cards on Turin to see where was I CPU bottlenecked, what are the limits of throwing a P100 into a Zen 5 box just to see what happens. So that's one thing that I have on my list that I want to accomplish.
So with that kind of boost performance, what a lot of people don't realize, these high core count processors, they are great and simultaneously terrible at compiling code. Mm-hmm. Because doing compile jobs, however many files, like I'm just going to do C++ as an example, or C++, like kernel compiling, things like that. For each section of the project, however many files there are, you can put one file per core.
Yeah.
So there is a certain headroom you can get there, like if you're dealing with a wide enough project. But then there are certain stages, like the linking stage, are single threaded.
Yeah.
You get one thread, and there's only one process running at that point in time. And so you have this 100-core system, and only one of them is going. And if you look at a lot of the other EPYC chips or the Threadrippers, they're like 3-point-something gigahertz.
Yeah.
And they stay there even if they're doing a single-threaded workload. So hearing what do you say, was a 5.4?
Let me look up the exact specs of this chip. AMD EPYC 9965, Here we go. 192 cores, 384 threads. Sorry, 3.7. I thought this one boosted to 5.4. All core speed, 3.35. It'll sustain 3.35 gigahertz. But the base clock is 2.25.
All we have to do is push more watts at it. What's that TTP down there say?
500.
Oh, that's nothing.
Per chip.
Yeah, that's nothing. No big deal.
So I need to put more power behind my rack, because if I want to run this and my servers and my NAS and my home lab and everything else, I don't have enough power. I don't have enough power to run this, let alone add my servers onto it. So I've got a brand new 30 amp 240 breaker that we're going to put back there. So we'll have almost 5,000 watts that we can play with, whereas right now we have 1,000. I've also got a brand new 3,000 VA UPS, which should do 1,800 watts sustained. And it can probably squeak its way to 22 or 24.
Are you going to be swapping up to 240 volt?
Yes. Yeah, 30 amp 240.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in that neighborhood right now with my current rack setup. Yeah, with one of those big giant, what is it, like a 3U UPS?
Yeah, this one's a 3U.
One of the hand-me-down Eatons?
It is a, yes. You know where I got it from.
You know where I got it from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been running that, since last summer, I believe. So
that's when I got mine too. Mine's been
a little shy of a year. But mine went into service almost directly when I got it, and it's been rock solid ever since. For those a little bit less initiated, there's different types of UPSs out there, like normal consumer grade ones. They're like basically passive UPSs. If they sense voltage drop or sag or whatever, they physically click a relay and then switch to the inverter and pull from DC to AC that way.
Yeah.
And so there's that lag time, and then you also have the fact that like the sine wave may not match correctly, and so there's a sudden jolt in the sine wave once it hits your power supply.
Yeah.
But these fancy ones that we're dealing with here, they're what's called double conversion. So it's always running on the battery, always running on the inverter, and then the power coming from the wall, its only job is to charge the battery while the battery is simultaneously draining.
Yep.
So you are always on your specific side or using your own inverter. Therefore, it doesn't matter how dirty or clean the power is coming out of the wall. This thing makes its own sine wave to give to your equipment.
Yep. And Yakto says, oh, these will do 3,000 sustained at 240. Okay, I had forgotten at 240, the VA is also, you have the current, so there we go. Yep, I forgot about that. So yeah, 3,000 watts sustained is what the new UPS will do. So I'm tripling the capacity of my power in my rack. That'll be possibly next week. I think I'm going to dive into that. I've got the breaker. I've ordered the cable. I just need to get the NEMA 1450 plug, or no, it's not it's the LM6. It's the 30 amp twist lock. We'll get that and get it installed. Luckily, I've already got a cable going there, so I'll probably just tie one end to the other and rip it on through.
Yeah, like as Yako said, they support 3,000 sustained. I'm using it for about 600 right now.
Mm-hmm. See, and that's about where my home lab hovers anyway, is about the 600, 650 mark is where I try to keep it. So we're going to have a lot more power to play with.
Yeah, my rack idles right around that 600 mark, but that's also because there's like a terabyte and a half of RAM and what is it, 8 plus 16, 20 something spinning rust up there right now.
Yeah, I've got 30 spinning rust, I think, in mine right now. Which, 8 watts a pop adds up pretty quick.
Yeah, and also that's why I bring up the RAM, because a lot of people don't realize, like, RAM, it's watts per stick basically,
Yeah.
and the bigger the RAM stick, the more watts it takes. And like RAM actually, at these scales of servers, RAM eats wattage.
Yes. Yeah. 24, 64 gig DDR5, 6400 DIMMs.
That's a few hundred watts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this is it's going to be fun to finally get that up and going. Yeah, the 9965s are the Turin Zen 5C. I did reach out to AMD, and I'm trying to get either a pair of 96 or 128 Zen 5 chips. That'll do the higher boost.
Do you have a fire extinguisher by chance?
Yes, I do.
Well, because you see, there's a $5 super chat.
There is. Zeus, also known as Home Lab Hazards. So when does Home Lab Hazards get to do your electrical contracting and install that?
Correction, Homely Hazards.
Homely Hazards.
Because he made a typo.
I self-corrected that.
So did I. I actually self-corrected it too until he mentioned it in the next comment.
Yeah. Homely Hazards. I'm gonna need to change your logo on the frame here. Homely Hazards.
He says my server room hasn't caught fire yet, but that's also because of the fact that I did all the inspection work and part of the install, and I actually almost set it on fire legitimately once.
Yeah.
You know about that when I had the I have the fan controllers, and I had some old flux that I was using that was contaminated and completely corroded out the contacts on the 12-volt lines for the fan controller.
Yep.
Yeah, that got thrown away and never again.
Yep. Yeah, well, about 2 weekends ago, me and my brother-in-law installed a 60 amp level 2 charger here at my house for our new EV. So I already pulled the circuit that does 11.5 kilowatt. So I think I can pull one that does a measly 5. So haven't killed myself yet.
You just said 64 gig sticks. Goddamn, that server is worth a condo. Yes.
Close. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Don't think I'm not looking at those sticks going, what could that buy me right now?
Yeah, it's like, well, even just with my server, like I said, I have, I think, over a terabyte of RAM in my condo right here in DDR4 RDIMMs. I'm just like, do I need that much in my server?
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, when it was cheap, I way overspec'd intentionally, just so I would have headroom for whatever I want to throw at it in the future.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the idea. And
yeah, I've got quite a few PCs that I've built over the years that have 64 or 128 on them, and boy, was that looking like a good decision right now.
64 is the base for all of my machines that I build.
Yeah.
And it has been for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Like, one of the best buys I ever did is my mother's previous workstation. I bought an HP Z420 off eBay. And so it's DDR3, so, oh god, it's slow and old, blah, 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 whatever. No, but it's quad channel, though, so who cares?
Yeah.
Quad channel 3 is faster than dual channel 4.
It is. Yeah.
And it came with 64 gigs of RAM. I put my own storage into it, so that didn't matter. But otherwise, when I bought that machine, it was like $130.
Yeah.
It was a complete machine, and the only thing I added was an SSD for the boot drive.
Yep. No, I did a build on the channel quite a few years ago on a Z420. I picked one up, swapped a CPU into it, added an SSD, tossed a graphics card in, and went, hey, look, cheap gaming machine. And it worked great.
Yeah.
That machine is still running. I don't even remember who I gave it to, but
I'm going to throw a little bit of shade now, because I'm actually fighting with a particular company right now. I replaced her workstation with a Minisforum MSO1. I've bought 5 or 6 MSO1 at this point, between that and using them as routers and whatnot. 2 of them have failed.
Oh, really?
And the one that she has on her desktop, because I actually pulled one of the routers out to replace her desktop when it failed, and that one has no audio. So it runs. So what I ended up doing was I plugged her speakers into the audio out jack on her monitor, just so she could get sound for the time being.
Yeah.
But that's kind of annoying. But I have photos of her workstation, and the capacitors on the VRM exploded.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's been a month now of me trying to get an RMA from them.
Yeah, that's...
I finally,
That's
through their
concerning.
Discord, it took about a week in their Discord that I finally have a one-on-one contact with somebody inside of there.
Yeah.
And we're trying to figure out why communication is breaking down, because I've not seen a single reply email, and I don't like the fact that they use email for RMAs.
Yeah.
So it's a process. It's frustrating because, like, I like the concept of the hardware. I like the price point that I got them at. But the failure rates, like having multiple failures with such a small purchase volume, and
Yeah, purchasing 6 to 8 and having literally 25%, that's not great.
yeah, I mean, it could still just be a statistical anomaly. Like,
Yeah.
it's still a small sample size. It's unfortunate. And reading online, some of the failures that I have seen are sadly common. So,
Interesting.
yeah, Jay just chimes in, like, really starting to unfortunately conclude that Minis 4 MQC is just not good enough to recommend. I've had a total of 4 boards from them die.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like I said, their price point is great, and maybe that might be why.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that they've been really friendly in the YouTuber space to be like, here, everybody's reviewing them, everybody gets sampled, and, you know.
Oh yeah, I've got a dozen Minis Forum products over here. MSO1, MSA2, their 7945HX, BD440i, or BD390i, whatever their ITX board is. The G1 Pro I just reviewed. In fact, that's I put that together for my wife this last week as her new gaming machine, and switched her over to Linux. So that's been fun. I've got a Strix Halo machine from them, the MSS one.
Yeah, I see people mentioning, like, whether they have it and it works, and they have it and you know, they've had issues.
Yeah.
And so part of what I'm wondering is, both machines that have died have been on her desk as her workstation.
Yeah.
And the one difference between there and me using it as routers, because when I use them as routers, it's just they're the machines. They don't do a whole heck of a lot. They're not really pushed that hard because routing doesn't use that much compute. They're not using that much power.
Right.
Her desktop has a 3050 in it. That's the Eston card, right?
Yeah, the little, yeah.
Yeah, the pink one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so her machine does have that card in it. I'm wondering if just the combination of the CPU plus GPU, even without gaming, just doing like YouTube streaming and things like that.
Yeah.
If it's just putting enough thermal pressure or something else on the system, that the VRM system is just getting stressed too much.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting because I've pushed mine pretty hard by putting a 4000 ADA SFF into mine, but I also didn't. But I also didn't run it, you know, for 9 months. I ran it for 6 weeks, in doing various testing and whatnot, and then it's been set aside for a while. So
yeah, because her machine, you figure, probably is getting like 8 hours of usage a day.
Yeah.
7 days a week, minimum.
Yeah.
Because she always has cat videos up. By the way, Tiny Kittens, go support them. They're a great charity.
Nice.
A great rescue up in Vancouver.
Yeah, that's disappointing that you've had issues getting a hold of support.
Yeah. Like I said, it took about a week in the Discord, but I started threatening a chargeback, and then they got a hold of me pretty quickly. It's sad that I had to come to that, because I literally shared the photos of the exploded caps on the motherboard in the Discord, and that wasn't enough to get a reply. It's when I said money.
Yeah.
As soon as I said money, they started contacting me.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll see how that goes.
All right. Well, speaking of routers, there's some hot router talk to get to. And I think what I'm going to do before we get into this is I just finished my drink, and I feel like I'm going to need another one before we dive into this. So let me go ahead and I need to dump my mixing tin real quick. We'll make ourselves another drink, and then we'll get into some FCC talk.
And remember, stay hydrated. I've been sitting here solo sipping my water. Got to stay healthy. All right, so you got your stuff there?
Got my stuff here.
All right, I'm going to step out for just a second then while you're working on that.
Sounds good. All right, so we can go ahead and do... Nope, that's the rant alert. Hold on. One of these buttons does it. There we go. Now I'm all full screen. So, like I said, the rum that I was planning on using tonight had an unfortunate incident with something growing in it. To be fair, there was only like this much left in the bottle, but I'm like, hey, there's 4 ounces of this really nice rum that I have left. I'll use that for the show tonight. And then ended up not being able to. So, next drink is the Trafalgar, something like that, Trafalgar. I don't exactly know how to pronounce it. Trafalgar. Trafalgar. There we go. Trafalgar. This one I was looking at the ingredients for, and I went, this one might be all right with just a little splash of coffee. And so I'm going to use this East Side distillation. This is from Portland Estate, made with coffee from Guatemala. 70 proof, so it's a little lighter rum, but it is a coffee-infused dark rum. So we'll go ahead and start with that. We're going to need 1.5 ounces of our dark rum here. A lot of coffee in that. We're going to do 1.5 ounces of brandy. And for that, I'm just going to use a Corbel brandy. Pour that on in. 1/2 ounce. Oops. Whoa. I got super lucky there. I just about knocked my glass off the table and it landed on my camera slider. So we're good. We're good. 1/2 ounce of orange liqueur. We're going to do 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. Again, we're going to use the Turbinado 2-to-1 simple syrup. We need about 1/2 ounce of lime juice. So we're going to shank off a lime here. There we go. And the final ingredient. Crack this guy open here. Is you're supposed to use a 1/2 ounce of a hearty red wine. So I have this tawny port that we're going to use. From Kopke, I believe is how you say that one. A nice hearty dessert wine there. And we're going to give that a shake. And you get the full screen experience this time. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of work going on there. And we're done. And yet again, we're going to strain this over one nice, beautiful, giant ice block there. There we go. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Trafalgar. I have never had this drink. I don't like modifying drinks that I haven't had before, but we're going to use the coffee rum. So, here we go.
You do what you do with what you got.
Oh, yeah. Oh. I can't imagine it without the coffee rum. That is freaking delicious. Wow, there's a lot going on there. Oh.
Real good stuff?
Real good stuff. Oh, that's a winner.
So what you're saying is we're going to have fun in a couple weeks in Ridgefield.
Mm-hmm. Am I allowed to make cocktails out of the back of my car?
Depends on how far away you are from the building.
I'll say the answer is no.
To be fair, we do have a Yolo Colo.
We do have a Yolo Colo. Oh, that is wonderful. It's weird how well the coffee and the orange go together.
Interesting mix, yeah.
Yeah, there's some pretty bright citrus in there with the orange and the lime. Especially that lime was particularly zesty. And so you try it, and it's this super sweet but very, very citrusy front end to this drink. And then it just kind of slowly gets darker, like flavor-wise, as it goes through.
I'm real curious.
It like caramelizes in your mouth as it's going through. And then you're left with a little bit of orange, and then that coffee just comes in and kind of takes over. And so you got this super dark, roasty coffee going with it. I think what I'm tasting in the center there is a little bit of that wine coming through. And that's what's kind of making that transition take place. But man, I'm sure this is good with regular rum. That coffee is a next level hit when it kicks in. That is just super good. All right, now that I have my coffee, I'm ready to talk FCC bans.
Well, before that, do you have an ad read you have to do?
Oh, I do. Thank you for reminding me.
Because that's going to transition nice into that topic anyway.
That is. Excellent segue, sir. Today's episode of Talking Heads is brought to you by Meter. While I enjoy working on my home lab and all of my network equipment, if you run a business, you probably have better things to do with your time. And that's where Meter comes in. Meter delivers an all-in-one networking stack that bundles everything you need into a single package, including high-speed wired and wireless networking, power delivery, firewall and routing, and even cellular, all in a single integrated solution that's built for performance and scalability. Meter handles everything you need, from designing a custom network for your business, and will even negotiate with your local ISPs to get you the best rates on internet connectivity. All of that shows up in a single cloud-based dashboard, giving you clear visibility into every layer of your network. You get the connectivity your business needs, all for a predictable monthly cost. Meter ships the hardware you need today and will automatically upgrade your hardware as time goes on, assuming they're approved by the FCC, and ensuring your business and your users always have the tools and connectivity they need. Whether you're starting a new business, expanding to new locations, or simply modernizing an aging network, let Meter take care of the hassle for you. Visit meter.com/craftcomputing to book a demo today and see what they can do for your business. Again, that's meter.com/craftcomputing, and a huge thanks to Meter for sponsoring today's episode. The perfect segue.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that, like while you were making your drink, and right before you're making the drink, you were mentioning we're going to hop into this topic, and I'm like, wait a minute, we're about the hour mark. We got to do the thing. Got to pay the bills, Jeff.
Got to pay some bills. Yep. No, I breezed right through that. So thank you. Anyway, the FCC made some announcements yesterday. And like all things with this administration, doesn't seem to be fully thought through. Look, this one's going to be political. There's no way around it. This is just stupid, okay? The FCC imposes sweeping bans on foreign-made routers affecting all new models. What does foreign-made mean? Well, if you are a US company or a non-US company, if you manufacture your router not in the US, after today, it will be banned from sale. Not quite. They're going to allow a grace period, and anyone who is currently on sale in the US can remain on sale in the US, even though that supposedly poses a national security risk. So even though we're claiming there's a national security risk, and this is all to keep you people safe, if they're already selling the national security risk, they can continue selling the national security risk.
But you only get updates for one more year.
But by next year, every importer must submit their router, the hardware, and any firmware updates they need for review so they can be on sale in the US. And if you do not submit for review, you will no longer be eligible to deploy firmware updates, which is, number one, totally wholly enforceable. I mean, no one's heard of the internet before. I mean, I guess if your router doesn't work, then there's no way to get to the internet to get the firmware to remove the security
they
risk.
thought of that. They thought of that.
But also, if these devices are not approved, they just will be banned from receiving security updates. All in the name of national security?
Real quick, no, bring the article back up real quick. Ars Technica, thank you for using the legendary Linksys.
Yes.
I just got to shout out. Like,
WRT54, baby. Yeah.
Dude, the 54, like, it might not be a 54. It's too low res to tell, but because there's 20 different routers that look like that. But like, the legend, freaking legend, and that's actually what birthed most of our modern third-party router software movements. Is because Linksys used the Linux kernel and was forced by law to release their firmware. Which led to OpenWRT, like that's where the WRT name comes from. But also other projects, because back then I was actually a huge fan of Tomato. For those 5 people out there that remember the Tomato firmware for the Linksys. That's also where like DDWRT was there before OpenWRT. But all of this started just because Linksys wanted to use Linux and then was forced to release the firmware. And the way that they technically didn't have to release everything the way the GPL is written, but they released everything. And so it spawned the ecosystem we have today. It's like, it literally is, the GOAT of routers, 100%. And not just that, but like we think of what we do with the Raspberry Pi today with GPIO and SPI and things like that. These routers had that. People were modifying them and putting other things into the chassis. And like soldering onto the boards, and through the custom firmwares you can control it and do all that cool stuff.
People added like lighting control via relays to their WRT routers. Like the scene back in the day was insane.
But the thing is, like, that scene's not going away. Getting back to the topic at hand here, like, I just mentioned I'm using MSO1s as my routers. Like that, I have 3 of them deployed. It was 4, but I had the one die. I have 3 MSO1s because I run. I don't run home lab. I run home prod. My network is split between 3 family member houses. They're all directly linked to each other using 0 tier, and I run that on top of OpenSense, which runs on top of the MSO1.
Yeah.
And then that gives me, like, it's a phenomenal platform, a great performance as long as they're stable. They've been stable as routers. I think it's just something to do with the voltage for the other stuff. But
yeah,
like, this gets into weird territory where we have to start looking at how the FCC is actually going to strictly define what each of these terms mean. Because is the MSO1 a router? Do they count the software OpenSense? Are they going to like ban the import of software? Because that's not far-fetched. We banned the export of software.
Right.
Going all the way back to the 80s and 90s, you could not export cryptographic functions.
Yeah.
Like remember, there was like versions of Internet Explorer that was like not for release outside the United States.
Yep.
That's because they had like 128-bit encryption, and the United States legally mandated we could not let that leave the borders of the country.
Yep. There's you and I started talking about this yesterday in the Discord, and both of us like brought up things that shocked the other person. You said, "Well, what is a router?" And I went,
"What is a router?"
Right, and I went, "Well, does that mean every version of Windows back to NT 3.5 is now going to be subject to this scrutiny because routing and remote access and NAT services and all the other things, Windows NT 3.5 and higher, anything that runs the NT kernel that's that level or higher, you can install routing and remote services or whatever the modern ICCS, Internet Connection Services, whatever the equivalent services for that generation of Windows, and turn Windows into a router."
Yeah, so Windows 95, literally Windows 95 had something called Internet Connection Sharing.
Yeah.
And I remember being at a friend's house doing a LAN party. He would connect on dial-up, and then we'd have our little 10 megabit LAN. He would turn on ICS, and then we would send AIM messages back and forth, like sitting next to each other. Because like it's the easiest way to copy paste text for like a command or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And that, like, we did that, and then he was the first person in our whole friend group to get DSL.
Yeah.
And the same thing, like, because of where that box was sitting, it was actually like upstairs on the far back side of the house. So we set up a PC up there, had it connected to the DSL, had internet connection sharing, ran an Ethernet cable out the window all the way around the house into his bedroom window, and had like I think at that point we were finally at 100 meg.
Yeah.
For our network switch. But yeah, he had DSL like with this janky setup, but that was like still the Windows 98 and 2000 era, right?
Yeah.
Like, and even with an ICS, because that's natting routers, like what we think of like as home routers.
Yeah.
Windows has built-in IP routing, full-on routing.
Yeah.
There is a flag you can just switch on Windows and be like, yeah, this is now a router.
But the FCC has now imposed a ban on all routers, the hardware, that have the capability of routing via software, which means any Windows PC is now technically illegal by definition. Any Linux PC is now technically illegal. Any SBC that runs Linux or Android is now illegal. Do you know why it's illegal? Here's my cell phone. Boop. I'm going to press that little button right there. Guess what? My cell phone is now a router.
Yaka points out all layer 3 switches.
All layer 3 switches are routers.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is IP routing.
Well, at least you should buy American, right? Like, you can buy a US-made router. Name one.
So there are American companies, like Cisco's just down the street from me.
Ubiquiti's in Santa Clara.
Yeah, but the thing is that, like, where's the hardware manufactured? For reference,
here.
Like I said, I'm not going to spoil quite just yet what I bought until I get in a couple weeks. but it was delivered today, and I was checking the tracking, and I was confused at first. The tracking actually started in, I do believe, Taiwan.
Yeah. Who you buy from ships direct from factory. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for what I ordered, yes.
Yes.
But that's the thing. Like, that is one of the most American tech companies there is.
Yeah. Yep.
And
people go, well, the Starlink router is made in America. No, it's not. The silicon is not pressed in America. They're importing parts. They might be assembling them here in America.
So, well, that gets into an interesting discussion. Because, like, Jeff, you probably remember, I used to actually work in the automotive parts industry.
Mm-hmm.
And my boss always loved to rant about this. As much as he was, the far right, trumping bullshit guy that I didn't like. But one thing he did actually say that was correct all along is he was not happy with Ford because Ford made in America, the engines were assembled in Mexico.
Yeah.
A lot of the other parts came from other countries, and we just did the final insert into chassis.
Yeah, torque bolt to spec. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what made in America was for them, and that's kind of the same thing with Starlink. Like, we don't have those kind of fabs here in the United States other than maybe Intel right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure we have, like, Arizona spinning up. There's Texas. Like, Musk has said he wants to spin up his own fab in Texas. He thinks he can do that in, like, 2 or 3 years and doesn't know how long it takes. Yeah.
I know how long it takes, which means 7. So if Musk says 3, it actually means 10.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that comment in chat. Musk wasn't even made in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, the thing is, though, is that I'm going to go down the political conspiracy side of this a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm going to get at. Uh-huh. Because this is a much, much larger topic, and these things that are being imposed, they're slightly a distraction, and people aren't linking them all together.
Yeah.
And there is actually evidence for this, and I'm going to get into the evidence in a little bit.
Yeah.
But this isn't an isolated thing. There's actually a lot of bills being passed right now, all in unison, that are all directly linked, even though they don't look like it. Here in Washington State, like, this is something that actually kind of pisses me off because I'm supposedly in one of the most left-leaning states.
Yeah.
They want to do registration for 3D printers, so every 3D print, they register to see if you're trying to print firearms.
Yep. Yeah, we actually talked about that on the show just a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
Luckily, they didn't go with the AI agent required on every slicer program to determine whether or not the part that you're printing pertains to firearms, because I print replica guns. I think it's a heck of a lot of fun to print fantasy firearms. The whole reason I bought a 3D printer in the first place, the whole reason that a Prusa MK3S Plus with an enclosure and a custom hot end is sitting on the other side of my office is because I bought a really crappy 3D printed replica of a Men in Black Noisy Cricket off eBay. And when that arrived, it pissed me off so much. I was so disappointed in the quality of that thing that I went, 3D printing has to be better than this. And so I went down the rabbit hole. And now I have a mini print farm in my garage with 3 Bamboo Lab P1Ss that are fully kitted out with Diamondback nozzles and heated enclosures and I print glass fill PETG and nylon like it's nothing.
I want to start getting into more materials.
Yeah.
But let's see, other things that are going on right now. All the age verification is directly related.
I've heard an interesting even conspiracy theory about the age regulation. Are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
This one also pertains to the state of Washington, and a little company that you might know called Meta. Look, Meta's in some trouble right now with the federal government for hooking kids on social media, knowing the dangers of it. Like, there was a whole court case that just ended up like a couple of days ago, and
YouTube too. There was 2 things that happened at once, but one of them, it was Meta and YouTube combined.
Yes. Do you know why we are seeking age verification not just in browser but at the OS level? It's so we can legally data collect from kids. because that's the one thing, that's the one legal hurdle that Facebook, Google, etc. have never been able to clear, is it is federally illegal to collect data on people under the age of 13 and often under the age of 16 depending on state laws.
Yeah.
Well, what happens if at the OS level there is a mechanism for determining the age of the user that is then reported with all the other metadata that goes with every single cookie to every single browser packet that is ever sent out by your browser? Oh, this user is 12 years old. Guess how much more marketing material we just got?
So, like, there's the comment in chat, no crap, but the thing is, like, we're still looking at this at the individual items. We haven't linked these all together with how they're all related yet. This is where it starts actually getting dangerous. I'm fairly certain the whole goal is a phrase I've been using in your Discord every day now, is de-anonymize the internet.
Yes. That
is the ultimate goal. Like, Facebook is actually foremost of this.
Yes.
I mean, they've had real name policy for a while, but it's not just them. It's
Google brought real name to YouTube.
But even besides that, there is historical evidence that this has to deal with a political dissident.
Yep.
Like, that's actually what this is all about. Going back to the 1980s, there was a new freedom that was bestowed upon the world called the home printer. Because prior to that, all media was centrally controlled by a few big oligarchs, whatever, right? And in the 1980s, we got home printers, and so that allowed like a new freedom of the press, even though we had that codified in law, but that actually bestowed that freedom upon everybody.
Freedom versus ability are two very different things.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, what did the government do in secret here in the United States because of that?
The government decided to do the same thing that they're threatening to do to 3D printers, and that is codify and serialize everything that is produced by a particular device. And in the case of printers, particularly color printers,
it's not just color, no.
Yeah, no, it started with black and white, eventually went to color, and it kept with color because you can't see it with the human eye nakedly because the pixels are so fine. Every printer that is sold, every page that comes out of that printer is serialized.
The pages have a pattern of yellow dots printed on them that can be traced back to that individual printer. And that way they can correlate, okay, we see these documents and we see these other documents. Oh, I saw this document at the office. I see this political poster out on the wall. Here's the Wikipedia page on it, and it shows all the information. This was hidden for 20 years before it was discovered. That's how good of a job, because this wasn't done by law. This was done in secrecy between the United States government and the printer manufacturers such as Canon and HP. What's interesting in this article, too, though, is it actually talks about there's a potential method to do this on black and white lasers by doing very subtle variations to the way it does its printing of the laser dots on the page. Which would make it even harder to be able to distinguish for a normal person. Because you can't just use the black light technique or the contrast technique they're talking about here. And also, yes, this is why color ink gets used during a black and white print. Yes. And this is why color ink is required during a black and white print. But yeah, like I said, the page does talk about a theoretical way to do it with black and white lasers. But yeah, the page also talks about how this was legitimately used to actually prosecute someone. They were able to track the movements and messages that they were producing based on things that came out of their printer. And so look at all of these laws, because also VPNs are being attacked.
Yes.
Like, VPNs are one of the greatest tools we have at our disposal for anonymity. And I do believe right now it's in London or Britain in general where they are trying to flat out wholesale ban VPN. They're going to use the guise that it's because of the BBC, probably. That's going to be their argument, because I mean there is a lot of people using VPNs to log into the BBC to watch the Olympics because the United States coverage sucks. I mean, just straight up it does.
Straight up guilty. I took advantage of People's Republic of the UK to watch the Olympics, because holy hell, NBC's coverage has been terrible for 20 years.
100%. But yeah, so like what I've been telling people to do as of the past week or two is each of these issues we're looking at, like with the FCC and the router ban, like, yes, that is a problem. Cool. Yep. Let's talk about it. But let's add this sideline of de-anonymize the internet is the ultimate goal.
Yep. With
all of these discussions, because like I see a lot of people saying, oh, it's about power, it's about control. Those are empty words, and you need to actually quantify what that term means.
Yeah.
Control of what? Like, I'm controlling part of this chat by talking right now, and you're not. So yeah. I'm in control right now. What does control mean? It's an easy throwaway word.
Hey Vince, I have a mouse cursor over your face. You're not in control.
Also, you just interrupted me, so apparently you are. But yeah,
who is holding the cards here?
But yeah, like we need to start using the phrase de-anonymizing the internet, because that's what's going on. And go back historically, like I still remember being involved with a lot of the early internet protests. Like I was sharing the IRC client that I made in your Discord earlier, but I used to be heavy in the Winamp community.
Yeah,
the Winamp community staged full-on internet protests against things like DRM, against the DMCA and whatnot. Like, there's good and bad to the DMCA, but a lot of this bad stuff we've been talking about for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And we saw all along that like the internet would eventually go in this direction.
Yeah.
And it's like there's been little chips away at it over time, and then all of a sudden in the past 1 to 2 years, it's been a holy hell, like everything bombarding all at once, and it makes it harder to actually protest and fight back when there's 10 different things you have to fight against, and it's a lot of this is state level rather than national level.
Yeah.
Which makes it harder to organize in all of these little micro areas, basically.
Yeah. I protest in my own little ways. Maybe they're subtle, maybe they're not. If you look back the last couple of months on my channel, I've done a recursive DNS tutorial and why you should probably be running your own DNS, running your own discovery DNS, hosting your own websites, registering them, being your own authoritative domain, how you can route your authoritative DNS through a VPN tunnel to anonymize yourself. Why did I create a VPN tunnel video? Why did I say, hey, it'd be great if my traffic didn't originate from my IP address? Information is a form of protest for me. I love being able to share how other people can keep themselves safe. Now, what's really funny is the comments that I got during those videos, especially the DNS one of, holy hell, what websites you're going to that you need to tunnel a recursive DNS through a VPN to anonymize yourself. It's like, it's not about what I'm going to. It's the fact that I have the right to not be seen. And I don't want to be seen. I don't want my ISP snooping on me, regardless. My traffic's pretty benign, to be perfectly honest with you, but I still have the right to privacy. And
like, I'm torrenting FreeBSD ISOs, and while everyone wants to make the Linux ISO joke, no, legitimately, I have over 1 terabyte of FreeBSD ISOs.
Yeah,
that I am torrenting.
What's funny is I think during the VPN gateway video, or no, it was. I ran an ad for NordVPN sometime this last year, and I got them to sign off on bypassing porn blocks and torrenting Linux ISOs as the talking points. And so hats off to NordVPN for totally understanding. But they ran that ad and they loved it. But in the video, I said, maybe you live in one of these 31 states, or maybe you just want to share all your Linux ISOs. And I had a screenshot of like 30 different Linux ISOs sharing. Guess what? I share those Linux ISOs. I will download them and host them and keep those torrents live because I believe in the free dissemination of information. And
that adult content is exactly the same thing I was just saying, though. That goes along the lines of de-anonymizing the internet.
Yeah.
They want all actions to be tracked, and so that way you can be held accountable for the most benign of things.
Yep.
If you look up a little bit, I think we might have missed a super chat from Jay.
My YouTube live page did its thing, and so I caught it just in time. I looked up and my CPU was at 77%, and then I looked back down and back up and it was at 93, and so we dropped a couple of packets, but I think we all came through.
I noticed.
Yeah.
I know. Even just the Zoom call was lagging really, really bad there for a second.
Yeah. Jay sends over another $5. Thank you very much, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
This is an opportunity for graft. There's an exception process to follow to get your device exempted. I'm sure money won't ever change hands for that. Yeah. The other thing that you can see with this administration is everything is we're going to ban all business transactions of any kind until maybe you make a sizable contribution to the re-election campaign of 2028. And then maybe you'll be allowed to do business. Like, if you just break all this shit down to mobster mentality, you've broken the code.
Yeah. But that's why I keep pushing the de-anonymize the internet thing, though, because we keep saying money. It's not just money, but it's also that power of being able to say, hey, we want to control all flow of information at the same time.
K-Harv sends over 2 Canadian ruples. No message, but thank you very much. Much appreciated.
I'll give that a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Don't have to have a message. I mean, if you just want to support, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Help keep the lights on.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to pay for the cocktails. I mean, I can't afford any tonight.
I need some new rum. My bottle of dark rum went bad.
The router ban doesn't apply to non-Wi-Fi routers. Is that how they codified it?
It is not stated as such. It simply says routers. Now, there is an exemption for enterprise routers, but what's the distinction there? And why are only consumers being attacked if this is a national security issue? You would think you'd want to go after businesses and industry and protected IP, not grandma checking her Facebook posts. Again, nothing about this ban passes the sniff test or even had someone rub 2 brain cells together and give it a second look before it was published. Everything about this is mobster mentality. It's, we're banning all sales. You will submit for authorization. If we deem you worthy, we'll allow you to continue selling things. But it's all for national security, so don't worry about it.
So the comment there, FCC can only regulate the Wi-Fi part. Yes and no. FCC regulates a hell of a lot more than just Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
FCC regulates all electronic devices in North America because every electronic device is an antenna.
Correct.
Inherently. All, getting down to, the bare basics of how electricity flows and how magnetic fields work, technically everything is a device, and that's why non-wireless devices will have the FCC certification on the bottom that says it will limit the amount of interference it gives off. It will accept the interference that it gives. I forget the exact phrasing, but I'm sure you know this personally, Jeff, because, what have you been dealing with?
Luckily, because we are not an on-purpose antenna, we did not have to go through FCC certification because there's no wireless component of our device. That being said, we still went through validation to make sure we weren't accidentally being an antenna.
And that's the thing, things can accidentally broadcast more than you intend.
Yeah. I've gone through a number of phases of emissions testing, and luckily that all went swimmingly. The FCC does regulate the wireless spectrum. And so anything that is on purpose an antenna, that is radio wave, cell phones, Wi-Fi, microwave, internet connectivity, anything that is on purpose communicating between 2 devices wirelessly is the purview of the FCC per spectrum space. However, the FCC is also the Federal Communications Commission, which means it also regulates communication.
telephone, television. Like,
Yep.
Why do you think we can't say the F word on TV?
Right.
Who's in charge of that?
There is technically a very loose oversight of things within the internet. They don't have full autonomy there. They do not have full authority on the internet, but they do have some. It has not been challenged in court, the limits of those, in quite a long time.
It's not that it's been challenged in court, but each administration has brought in different commissioners who has pushed it in either direction.
Yeah.
Because net neutrality is FCC. Like, there's nothing wireless about net neutrality. It's just peering between different ISPs.
Yeah.
And that's been a constant battle that each administration has brought in a new chairman to fight that particular battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is very much an FCC thing.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of communication and the internet and the rights of users, the rights of ISPs, the protections therein, there's another story. The Supreme Court the other day,
The Supreme Pizza,
actually overturned a federal court of appeals ruling that Cox Communication violated essentially the DMCA when it comes down to it. This was a lawsuit brought by Sony, and likely the RIAA and the MPAA and anyone else with a foot in the copyright game, against Cox Communication, Cox Internet provider, as an ISP.
Yeah, for just a quick heads up, Cox is just another large-scale cable internet provider similar to Comcast.
Correct.
Or other providers like that here in the United States, for those that don't know. Because they are regionalized, and a lot of people have not heard of them.
Yes.
Or know who they are.
Yeah. Cox doesn't have any dealings on the West Coast, really. They're more of a South-Southwest.
Yeah.
And so Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Cox. I think they also stretch into the South as well, like Mississippi, Louisiana.
I want to say, if I remember correctly, Cox and Roadrunner may have merged.
Okay.
And Cox took over Roadrunner. So
Yeah.
if you're in the Kansas area and you know Roadrunner, I do believe that might now be Cox.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I thought I heard that
Yeah.
in the past couple years.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry, I'm trying not to sneeze. I don't know why. I've been fighting it for like 2 minutes, and it's just like getting worse. So if I sneeze, I apologize. Anyway, Sony brought a lawsuit to Cox Communications, the internet service provider, because Sony says Cox was enabling piracy of Sony music.
They were a co-conspirator, I believe, is actually how they were defined.
Yes. And so it's not that Cox didn't do enough to prevent the piracy, it's that Cox enabled the piracy of Sony music. Now, this argument dates back to roughly the year 2000, around the time of the passing of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, the DMCA. The DMCA is a dirty word on the internet for a number of reasons, because oftentimes, myself as a YouTuber, I have seen DMCA strikes. I've received DMCA strikes. I've received illegitimate DMCA strikes, not issued in good faith. Thank you, Bethesda. If you've seen my rant on that. But the DMCA has a couple of actions and stipulations to it. That being, if a copyright holder, that being of any form of media, that could be video, music, software, art, whatever, if a rights holder discovers that a website or service provider host is hosting their content illegitimately, they can issue a DMCA takedown notice.
Yep.
That takedown notice is sent to the host, and can also be sent to the service provider of that host. And so if you are a website provider, it can be sent to you as the website provider, host for whoever, as well as your connectivity provider. So Cox Communications, Spectrum, Fios, whoever. However, And then, once a service provider or a host receives a DMCA takedown notice, they then need to issue the actual customer that is hosting data with them that they've received a DMCA and that they are complying by taking this content down. That is how that process works. If an ISP or a content host takes down or issues a notice to the customer that they are being taken down, the service host and the ISP are both what's called held harmless. That is, they have complied with the law and they are not liable for any damages. That is a component of the DMCA. That is actually probably the best component of the DMCA because it allows internet service providers, content providers, internet hosts the freedom to host anything they want without having to go into draconian, overreaching policies of scrutinizing every last individual piece of information. It's also the backbone of net neutrality in that if an ISP, with every website that they connected to, they then had a liability to check that website for infringing content, they would simply block that website outright. They would only allow approved sites through because their legal department is not that large, contrary to popular belief. And so what we would get is if you get onto Cox as an ISP, you would be granted access to Cox's internet and nothing else. And if you had a Google ISP, or if you had Xfinity, Comcast, Spectrum, Verizon, whoever, AT&T, you would be granted access to their internets, which are not connected to the other internets.
AOL keyword.
Yeah.
Literally AOL keyword is what you're describing.
Right. And so the whole reason the internet exists the way it does, which is the free and open exchange of information, is because as a service provider, you are not liable for the packets that go through your network unless you actively aid and abet in the dissemination and infringement of those works. A Fourth Circuit court ruled that Cox was a player in aiding and abetting to a music download in a Sony lawsuit. And so the whole DMCA and free and open internet was kind of actually at stake here.
Yeah, because part of the argument was Cox was notified, but they don't always remove customers immediately. They don't just chop them off. And this actually gets slightly back to what we were just discussing earlier with the whole router thing. Where was I going with that? Is the internet a utility? And that falls into that net neutrality thing.
Yep.
And that's, again, the FCC commission, that's something they've debated back and forth.
Yep.
Personally, I do believe the internet should be a utility. You cannot have a modern societal life without internet.
You cannot exist without the internet. And to every boomer in the audience and to every boomer at home and the older ones and everyone in between, this house, I bought this house without ever meeting my financier in person, going into their office, doing anything else. We did all document signing over the web.
But even beyond that, let's go back simpler, right?
Yeah.
How do you do almost any transaction other than going to your local grocery store without a combination of a phone number and an email address?
Right.
Almost every single business now requires those in order to conduct business in the first place.
Not only that, if you walk into a grocery store and you swipe your debit card, that is an IP exchange of information with the financial services. It's not going over a dial-up connection.
Yeah.
That's going over broadband internet.
How did you get that card in the first place without having a phone number and an email address with the bank?
Right. Yeah.
So
how do you manage your account?
Yeah, so I've always been of the opinion that the internet should be regulated as a utility, separate, which would invalidate this lawsuit, or this Cox lawsuit anyway. But the thing is that the way the Supreme Court ruled, by the way, it was unanimous in the Supreme Court.
7-0.
Shocking.
Not only that, Clarence Thomas wrote the majority opinion.
And he nailed it. Of all people.
Of all people that I expected to not even be able to read the law, but fully understand it?
Yeah, so, yeah, I didn't read the full brief today. I read part of the summary, a couple of the quotes and whatnot, but it's just like, yeah, it's...
Clarence Thomas didn't directly quote the DMCA, but he basically quoted all of the bylaws that I just stated of, in order for a free and open internet to exist, companies like Cox that are simply providing internet connectivity need to be held harmless from activity like this. Yes, there's going to be users who do illegal things on the internet, just like there's people who speed on highways. It's not the cops' job to regulate every single one. It's to catch the ones that they see violating.
Well, no. So step back. It's even simpler than that, because the cops are the enforcement agency, right?
Yeah.
The ISP is not an enforcement agency.
It's not the DOT's job.
It's not the DOT, but like some of the examples I saw, because they're just the service provider. Like, yeah, is the DOT responsible for somebody speeding? Is Ford responsible for somebody drunk driving? Is it the alcohol company for drunk driving? They put out the messages, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this thing is bad, don't do it. Cox is doing the same thing. They would send you the letter in the mail. Hey, don't pirate crap.
Yeah.
Like, pirate bad. Cool. Don't copy that floppy.
By the way, this is not legal advice. If you ever receive one of those, do not respond. Don't admit anything. Don't deny anything. Don't even talk about it.
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen. If you receive a letter...
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. Exactly.
It's like those couple lawyers who keep making all the TikToks and everything. Shut the F up.
Yeah. Yeah. If you receive a letter, don't call your ISP and ask why you received the letter. You probably know why you received the letter. Don't dig into it. Don't open a dialogue. Don't talk to cops. Don't talk to your ISP, okay? Like... You wouldn't download a bear.
What if I am the bear?
Right.
But yeah, like this is, I mean, score one for the internet. Finally, like I was looking at the news topics. So I'm like, we don't have good news topics. And I know you've been complaining about this. But...
I have been. I've been rallying on this for the last month of like, man, give us a win. Give us something I can be excited about.
This is like the first legal win with all the crap going on in the world that we've had in a long time.
Which tells me they're getting ready to make a really bad decision, and this one's going to cover for that. So, buckle up.
Yeah, so go torrent those FreeBSD ISOs, please.
Share your local Linux ISOs. I highly recommend doing that. The cool thing is, the internet is free and open. You don't even have to VPN to share a Linux ISO. If you're sharing other Linux ISOs, maybe go through a VPN. If you're one of those, like, Gen 2 users or something like that. Yeah, I'd VPN that too.
So, Nub points out, like, voting rights. The thing is, so, like, this is going back to what I was saying earlier with the de-anonymizing the internet thing.
Yeah.
Left, right, and center, everybody's attacking the anonymity of the internet.
Yep.
It doesn't matter which side you vote on that one. Like, I don't understand why both sides are heavily attacking it, but... the heavy left and the heavy right are anti-anonymity on both sides.
Yep. Yep.
And yes, the internet is for porn. By the way, one of the most raunchy, funniest dudes you can ever imagine in the world took me to go see Avenue Q in person here in Seattle back when that was still a thing. So
nice. I will say it still bums me out that the only city in America that has more strip clubs per capita than Portland is Seattle. Like, it's the one thing you guys beat us out in.
Do we have? I thought Portland was number one.
Is Portland? Did we retake it? Because you guys were on top for a while. No pun intended.
Yeah, I have
Hold
an
on.
issue. It's great.
Let me. Oh, wow, no, Seattle's not even on the list. What the crap?
We actually have that many.
2021 per capita, Portland, 1.92
Per 100,000.
per 100,000. Yeah. Tampa, Florida, number 2. New Orleans, Virginia Beach, Louisville, Kentucky, Jacksonville, Florida.
The fact that all of these are beating Vegas.
Las Vegas. Not even
Cleveland.
top 6.
Huh. But yeah, here in Seattle, like, yeah, we have a couple like big name prominent ones here in the city.
Yeah.
Like right next to some of our most kid-friendly landmarks.
You're losing to Salt Lake.
But the thing is, like, yeah, we have a few big famous ones, but otherwise, like, there's not that many here in the Seattle that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have one right next to Pike's Place Market.
Yeah.
Like one of the big ones. Another one of the big ones is right across the street from the baseball stadium.
There's one, like, kitty corner from the original Starbucks. I know that one. Allegedly.
Yeah, that's the one by Pike Place.
Yeah, okay, okay, that's right. The same neighborhood.
First Starbucks, which is actually the second.
Yeah. It's the it's the roastery. Yeah.
Well, no, well, because the original Starbucks doesn't exist.
Right.
That building has been taken over by somebody else, and so they use the second one and call it the first.
Yeah.
Yeah. For all of you tourists that come here and think you went to the first Starbucks, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
Sorry to ruin it for you.
Yeah. Interesting side note. That Starbucks also has a bar at night, and it is fantastic. They do coffee-inspired cocktails a couple of times a week, and if you're ever in the area, if you want like a touristy thing to do, last time I was up for PAX, the whole crew, all 4 of us, me, Rhett, John, and Steve, all hit up the Starbucks roastery there, and they had like 12 cocktails. You can only buy 2 cocktails. They cut you off after 2, but between the 4 of us, we ordered all 8 cocktails and kind of went to town trying them all. It was a good time.
Yeah, I still got to get you up to Seattle sometime to take you to the bar that my friend runs.
Yes.
Which, if I was feeling better, might be where I would be at tonight. I did text him ahead of time about a week ago asking if he'd be working tonight, but he said no, and we were thinking about going somewhere else, but it's like, it just depends on how mobile I feel after this call.
Well, I was hoping to come up on May 15th, but someone has a wedding to go to or something.
Sorry. A wedding that I might be... I've asked repeatedly, and I think it's been approved finally, to actually be one of the main people to give a speech at. So it's
nice.
Like, it's not just like going to a wedding.
Yeah.
It's someone I'm really, really close to.
You're involved, yes.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Which, funny enough, my buddy who runs the bar, he's also the one officiating the wedding.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Oh, so, yeah.
Very tight-knit family, let's just put it that way.
Bad weekend to go to the bar anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Jay sends over another $5. Thank you so much. My friend took me to Mary's in Portland, where I ironically taught the bartender how to make a Naked and Famous. She was very excited about it. Awesome. Yeah, Mary's is a great place.
Good drink to have at a strip club.
Yep.
Yeah, Jay, you did say you're coming up here for PDX Land, right?
Was he on the list? I don't remember seeing... Jay, are you coming to this PDX?
Because I'm pretty sure earlier in the chat tonight he mentioned something about buying me a drink for my birthday.
Okay.
So.
There you go.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to have a new toy at PDX Land that I think you specifically are going to love. I'm excited. Like I said, it was delivered in Portland today.
Nice.
Yeah. He said he's going to be there. It was delivered in Portland today. The recipient opened it, validated it, and that's as much as I've heard so far.
Cool.
So I've been my home office. I've been buying equipment to upgrade it. So like today, I just got a. I'm replacing my level 1 tech KVM. Because right now I have a 2-device 2-monitor.
Yeah.
But about a couple years ago, I swapped to the G93 SE. So, you know, that 49-inch super 32:9 monitor.
Yeah.
So I've been rocking single monitor for like the first time in my life since I was like a kid, right? Yeah, you got the giant over there. But I don't have anything extra. I'm just running the single monitor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't really care to have a side monitor or anything with this thing at this point, or anything else around it.
Yeah.
So I'm committed to single monitor, but I'm going to have 3 machines on my desk now, so I'm swapping to a 4-device single monitor KVM.
Nice.
Instead of the 2-device 2-monitor, because I used to rock 2 monitors.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I was mentioning, my mother has the MSO1. Mm-hmm. But she also, her setup's kind of like mine, where she has a personal system and then a work system.
Yeah.
Because we're both work from home people.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give her the 2-device, 2-monitor KVM for her setup, because she runs dual monitor at home between both her personal and her work setup. So that way she could just one button press to go between the 2 machines.
Nice.
Because right now we have it split where it's like HDMI in and then DisplayPort in. So we're using 2 video inputs on the monitors with auto select. So if both computers are on, the monitors get confused.
Yeah.
And she kind of gets tired of that. So she has to shut down one to use the other. So if she just wants to, like, on her lunch break, look at her personal computer, she can't.
Yeah, it's a 5-minute process, and who's going to go through that? Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to upgrade my rig anyway, so I'm going to give her my old KVM, and I got myself a new one. And then for my new system, I bought a Thunderbolt 5 hub for it.
Nice.
Because I need bandwidth.
Yeah.
So yeah, start thinking of what I might have, because yes, I'm legitimately going to be running Thunderbolt 5.
Nice.
On my primary, because I only want 1 cable.
Yeah. It's wonderful once you finally break it down.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a couple devices that are running Thunderbolt. Like I said, my main workstation here is a Mac Mini M4. But I've got a dock on top of that, plus I have a PCI Express dock attached to it. There are more. I'm using every single port on my Mac Mini M4. Every last one.
I almost bought a Mac Mini. Because we've been talking a lot about DaVinci Resolve specifically.
Yeah.
And that, and like I've been looking at these Neos, and like even people that normally wouldn't even review are picking it up. It is such a neat little system.
Yep.
Like it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, there's people in my family that have seen the casual web browser system. Do I just buy them a Neo?
Yeah.
Like they check their bank account, they send an email, they look at the sports score. Like, I mean,
is it possible Apple goes for a jugular at some point and releases a 349 Mac Mini with an A18 in it as a low power desktop?
I don't think so, just because I don't think they sell enough in the desktop space.
Yeah.
For who would want to buy that. Plus, people buying in that price range.
Think about education market PC labs, though. Like, that's still a thing.
Not... a lot of education that I see like the idea of a take-home device.
Yes. So,
like... I've been pricing out iPads, actually, because I've been thinking about, like, I just want another little portable device just to walk around where I can just type something in real quick, right?
Yeah.
Or just, I need something that's ultra portable for looking up spec sheets when I'm working on projects.
Yeah.
I've been thinking a lot about the iPads, but again, the iPads are like $400, $500, $700.
Yeah.
Like, since they've done the Neo now, can they cost reduce it further for an iPad? I think that would be like one of those things.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I don't think that the Neo hardware would work for a mini desktop is that it is extremely limited on I/O.
Right. Yeah.
so-
It's only got the two USB controllers. One of them is a 2.0.
And I'm actually wondering if it actually only has a single USB port or a controller inside, and that's running on a hub.
Right. That also could be.
It might be dual controllers because, again, it's an iPhone chip, so the iPhone may legitimately actually have two controllers with only one exposed.
Yeah.
Where the other one may be like a programming or a debugging interface internally when they're manufacturing it.
Right.
I mean, that could be the case, but also not just that, but its video output capabilities is extremely weak.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's a lot of complaints about the MacBook Air.
The M1. Yeah.
Yeah, this is an M1 Air that,
Yep.
that I'm doing stuff on right now.
Yeah, you can do
there's-
one external display. It can only handle two, which means you have the built-in one and one more, and that's all you get.
And even then, like, the amount of bandwidth allotted to it is very minimal.
Yeah.
And the fact that you only have that single high bandwidth port on the Neo.
Yeah.
I think that it might be too far constrained on the I/O for that chip, and they'd have to have like a modified chip to do that.
Yeah.
Because obviously the Neo chip has some sort of display output directly, but could that be tapped into to be converted to HDMI or DisplayPort or something else,
Right.
rather than just directly driving a display, which is probably like LVDS or something like that.
Yeah.
And I honestly actually don't know how hard it is to convert between LVDS and anything else. I've never looked into it.
Yeah. In theory, it's just a frame buffer transfer, and so you're just handing it off to a driver to scale. But
But
yeah,
then you get into all the different video modes and everything like that, and all
Yeah.
the different monitors.
Yeah.
See, like, with the phone, you have the one screen. With the Neo, you have the one screen.
yeah.
There is one review that I saw today, a half review, that actually brought up a point that I did not realize they did with the Neo. That, and this was on a retro tech channel, by the way. They were comparing it to a feature that has not been apparent in macOS since the G3 was brought back for the Neo. I didn't catch it, and I have not seen anybody else catch this yet. The default UI theme is based on the color of the laptop. Because it's a green laptop with a green UI.
That is not entirely true. That the macOS theme has not depended on the case theme since the G3. That was a thing during the G3. However, MacBooks, when they started coming out in space gray, would default to dark mode. And the white MacBooks and the silver MacBooks would default to light mode. And so
That's a subtlety.
they
with light and
do
dark
do
mode.
that. Yes.
Yeah, so it has a light and dark mode, but this was green.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Apple is putting like little subtle touches and bringing back some of that classic
Yeah.
Mac stuff back to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know on some MacBooks, if you got a space gray MacBook, you would get a when you turned it on and you got the Mac Gong, you would get a gray screen with a black Apple logo on the screen when you turned it on if you had a space gray one or a space black or whatever. If you had a silver one, you would get a black screen with a white logo.
Okay. Zeus chimes in. Once again, $2, thank you. The ultimate grandma pooter iMac Neo.
I think there would be room for some kind of a low power desktop with just a single HDMI out, single display, 2 USB ports, wireless peripherals.
Yeah, but think about it like this, though. Now compare it to a Raspberry Pi 5. 2 4K display outputs, 4 USB ports.
And a 4-core 5-watt ARM processor? Like...
With 16 gigs of RAM, that's
six-
double.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
more RAM than a MacBook.
That's what makes it interesting. So the CPU is the only thing weaker on the Pi.
Wow.
Everything else is better. Plus, you get PCI Express on that for NVMe.
Yeah.
It's a single lane, but yeah. That's the Pi 5, other than the CPU, is a beastly machine for what it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Mac dong. Yeah, dude, like if you know, you know. Dong.
Dong. Yep.
I hear it once about every 4 to 6 months because that's about how often I actually have to reboot this Mac.
Yep.
Yeah, that their reliability has gotten good since they switched to their own silicon.
Oh god, yeah.
This YouTube is complex. In my day, we used MIRC. Join the Discord because today I actually shared a screenshot of an IRC client I made in 2003. And
you're among friends.
I went in, and the screenshot that I recorded back then, because this is, I just found a folder of old screenshots. I went into an IRC channel I was a frequent in to announce that I made this IRC client, to take the screenshot of the IRC client, and the very first comment was, will it have feature parity with MIRC? Which, no, that is hard, actually. MIRC scripting system is phenomenal for its era.
All right. Well, we actually made it through all the news. Look at us.
Did we?
We did.
Wow.
I only posted 3 articles, so it's not that much of an achievement.
That's the normal for you.
But yeah.
We usually do about 3.
Yeah, but hey, we got through all 3 of them. Look at us.
Yeah.
Oh, man. What a week it's been.
Sir, it's only Wednesday.
I know. I got back from California. I got the couple of videos edited. I've got a couple more videos on the docket that I'm working on. I need to finalize one tomorrow. Because Meter has one more ad placement, and I need to get that approved before like Monday, for publication. And so, so I got to get that taken care of. But dealing with some fun stuff at home, child growth related things, like a new era is upon us, and that's been exciting. My son decided to pull on my wrist yesterday, and I felt a burning sensation up near my elbow.
That's not good.
And last night I woke up at like 2 a.m, and these 2 fingers were completely asleep all the way up my arm. So he pulled and tore something. He pulled and tore something, and it's... So I've been trying to like not move my arm all that much, in hopes that it's a minor little tweak and it'll go away, but we'll see what happens there. So yeah, lots of fun. Lots and lots of fun. Anyway, I think this is a good place to call it a show. If you like the channel, you want to support us in what we do, join the Patreon. The awesome thing about that is that gets you access to the exclusive Discord server. You can join that.
It's been popping lately.
It's been popping. It's been the happening place to be. If you join that, you can hang out with the entire community that hangs out over there. Talk to me throughout the week, as well as the other hosts from Talking Heads. We are always over there. I think all of us are on it 7 days a week. I hardly ever sleep. So up until midnight Pacific time, and then usually around 5 a.m. Pacific, I'm back up and at 'em. So if you want to talk, I'm here. Discord's open on my PC. People go, oh, I didn't want to ping you, you're busy. No, that's why the Discord exists. That's where you can ping me, and it's okay.
That's why I see people like me just ping Jeff whenever and get a reply. Or
totally. If I'm sleeping, I'm sleeping. And you know what? I'll see you when I wake up. And that's totally cool, too. So silence on phones exists for a reason, and I use it liberally. So But join the Discord. It is a fantastic time. We've got merch over at craftcomputing.store, rocks glasses, whiskey stones, custom nucleated pint glasses with laser etching on the bottom, so it keeps your beer fresh while you drink. They're actually functional, and really good quality glassware. And all of them are designed and made right here in-house on my own personal laser cutters. So go give that a look at craftcomputing.store. Circuit Rewind, anything you're working on that's kind of exciting lately?
Actually, once we're done here, I might go push another public release. I've been working on an NTP time server for Raspberry Pi.
Yes.
There's a few things I haven't quite mentioned that I've been working on with it yet publicly. There's some stuff in it behind the scenes. But yeah, if you want to... I've always been fascinated with the concept of having a localized time server.
Yeah.
And I decided to finally build one because of all the frustrations I've had with commercially available ones for cheap. And so if you go look up StrataPi, like like Stratum, StrataPi.
Yeah.
It's been a fun project. I guess one quick mini rant, if you don't mind.
Jay says, Circuit Jeff Geerling Rewind.
Right. do we have time for me to go on a little bit of a mini rant?
Go for it.
Well, 'cause this goes back to a lot of the discussion going on right now about AI and things like that. I think this is one of the first places I'll say it somewhat publicly. Almost this entire thing has been built with AI. But the thing is, everyone's like, oh, AI means slop. Like, no. AI is slop, just like putting a pencil in somebody's hand is or putting a pen in somebody's hand and being like, oh, draw me a gorgeous picture is going to be slop.
Right.
It's based on the knowledge and the capabilities and the skill set of the user of the tool.
Right.
And the problem we're getting so much slop in the industry right now is that it's been an accessibility thing where programming has a steep, huge learning curve.
Yes.
I've been a software engineer for over 2 decades. I've done it professionally for most of my life. I have the knowledge and the skill to do it. So I have the knowledge and skill to push back when the AI is wrong. I'm also not letting it do things I don't want it to do.
Correct.
So I've been using it as a tool to aid me to do certain things faster, but also work in certain areas where I don't have complete knowledge, but it gives me the starting point. I can go look up, the reference material and come back and validate what it's saying.
Yeah.
So in that regard, yes, I do use it very, very heavily on this project. And the difference between what I do and what you'd consider AI slop is that I had a proof of concept in a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are taking a proof of concept and just publishing it.
Yeah.
I am now 2.5 months into development, working on this almost 7 days a week.
Yeah.
It worked in 2 days, and I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
That's because of polish.
Here's the difference. I learned very early on in my IT journey that I am not a programmer. My mind doesn't work in the way that allows me to learn and regurgitate how to program. I can kind of bash script. I can kind of PowerShell my way through things. I'm a glorified script kiddie, if you can even call me that. It's just my brain doesn't work that way.
Right.
I got the hardware-tism, not the software-tism.
Hey,
but
we all work together.
Right, but I understand where my strengths are and I understand where my weaknesses are at. That being said, if I were to go and download the repo for StratPi and then go, I want to make this my own, that's slop coding. Because I don't know any different. I can't correct any missteps. I can't adjust anything in the code. I don't know how to read the code, let alone write the code. If I did, I'd be writing it myself.
Yeah.
And so that's the difference from using AI as an accelerator, which is what it should be used for, and using AI for the final result. And that's the big hurdle that most people... That's where I established the line that I don't want to cross. Is I don't mind artists using AI in the art creation process. I don't mind movie directors and set designers using AI in the asset creation process.
Yeah.
for storyboarding or figure out how they're going to do things, or figuring out problems before they get on set, or
green screening.
or green screening, or anything
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. It's the final result that matters. And if that's where your blood, sweat, and tears can go because you only had to spend 5% of the effort to storyboard something out, more power to you. You accelerated the process and you got a better result out of it. If all you do is type in a prompt to an AI generator and it spits out a movie and you go, yep, this is my best work. Yeah, you're right. That is your best work. And it sucks.
The best comparison, because like I mentioned earlier, I've been a professional photographer for most of my life. When photography started becoming about 120, 150 years ago, it was not reviewed as an art form.
Right.
Because art, painting and drawing was art. Photography is you snap the button and then out came a thing, right?
Right.
Today, we have a love and appreciation for photography as an art form, and you give a cheap camera to a professional, they will produce a good image.
Yes.
You give an expensive camera to a novice, it's going to look like a cell phone shot. And because there is skill into how you use a tool.
Yep.
And so the thing is, I also was not comfortable using LLMs up until about 3 months ago. They didn't get good enough to do this until about 3 months ago.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's about when I started this project. Not coincidentally, like they happened around the same time, but no relation to one another.
Yeah.
But I will happily say that like I do use a lot of these tools, and I will give examples of where it works, and I will give examples of where it's fallen on its face. And the F word is probably my most common word to use when dealing with LLMs, literally. I will tell it to F off every third prompt.
Yeah.
Because it is screwing something up.
Yep.
But being able to recognize that and being able to work with it, it has done some absolutely bananas amazing things for me that I didn't think was possible. And that 2-week proof of concept would have taken, or the 2-day rather, proof of concept would have taken me about 2 weeks to do it on my own.
Yeah. And that's what I like it for. Get yourself a working proof of concept. Okay, this is worth pursuing. This is worth polishing at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff I had to validate. Is this even functional? Because I don't... do I announce this yet or not? Let's just say some very, very important people want to hear me describe some of the stuff I've developed in this project.
Ooh.
So there's going to be some bigger announcement about that here in the next couple weeks.
Nice.
But yeah, like another area where AI LLM stuff excels amazingly good, actually. But again, you have to fight with it a little bit and swap between models. Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing. Don't be afraid to swap between models. Some models are better than others for specific tasks. I've been doing a lot of retro Cisco phone configuration.
Yeah.
So I have phone routers now, dial-up modems, things like that. Cisco syntax is terse as hell. Their documentation is all over the place. It depends on what version you're running, and it's 1,000 pages per version. There's a lot to sort through. And I'm like, I just want to be able to dial X phone number, Y phone ring. Like,
yeah.
I don't care about reading 1,000 pages of documentation. I just want to have fun with my phone box.
Yeah.
And an LLM can spit out that 500-line config in seconds.
Yep.
So I can go play with my phones from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a couple areas where it works well. And I am thinking about this summer making a video about this. About some of the stuff that I've used it with and showing the goods and the bads.
Yeah.
And talking about the ethics of it as well, because there is still the ethical debates about it.
Yeah, and like I said, before I dived into anything AI generation related, I felt it necessary to write out my feelings and give a morality standpoint. So that's on a video that's still on the channel, and I still stand by basically everything that I said in that video is... And my standpoint really hasn't changed. It's that I don't think that AI should be copyrightable. I don't think that AI should be your final result. But if you say you can't use AI anywhere in the creative process, then you're also equally stupid. Because...
Well, that copyright one is real interesting, by the way. So I was under that same guise of that, like, oh, if it's AI generated, it's uncopyrightable. But there's actually a nuance to that was brought up. Crap, how did this chain go? Somebody in the FreeBSD Discord, or FreeBSD developers, referenced this other project. I can't remember which one it was. That project referenced the Oxide, one of the documents of Oxide computers, and their stance on AI.
Uh-huh.
And so while the generated content of AI in totality is not copyrightable, as soon as you start playing with it and modifying it,
yes,
you have artistic liberties that you're taking upon the generated content.
Correct.
Therefore, that's where the copyright starts being applied.
Correct.
Because then there's a transformative nature from a human interaction.
Bingo. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So copyright's complicated, by the way, and like I was studying law for a while, and my specific study was intellectual property rights.
Yeah.
Which you and I have had private discussions about.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Blanket statement: if you spit something out of AI, that is not copyrightable. However, if it is used in the creative process, your end result, depending on your human inflection into the project, could still very much be. Also equally so, as we've seen with Sora and Disney in the latest saga that's going back and forth there, is
that could have been a story tonight.
just because Sora generates a Mickey Mouse character doesn't mean they're not violating Disney's trademark or copyright because something happened to be AI generated.
And also, trademark is extremely different than copyright, and a lot of people get that wrong.
Yes.
Same thing with patents.
Yeah.
Copyright, patent, and trademark are all holistic.
Very different things.
Laws.
Yes.
Yes.
Entire different studies in a lot of cases.
Oh, okay, fine. One quick side extra story bit for everybody. Yeah, Sora's dead, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just announced today that Sora is now ending, which also ends the contract between Disney and OpenAI.
Yeah. Who knew that taking $5 billion and lighting it on fire wasn't a viable business path?
Good job, Disney.
Yeah.
Anyway, to circle back around to the origin of my rant, if you want a time server, if you want a time server for your home lab, yeah, Stratify.com. Yeah, 'cause I'm before I formally announced the project, I made a post, that meme where it's I bought the domain for my new startup. But the thing is, I legitimately bought a 5-year domain for that and a few other spellings of it. I'm just like, I am this committed to this before I publish the first release.
Yeah.
I was far enough along to know that it was viable.
Yeah.
Because I technically had actually been working on this for months before anybody knew it, but I was doing it by hand, and what the AI was doing for me was generating the build script, not the actual thing that it was building.
Yeah.
The thing that it was building, I built by hand, and I had an AI system recreate all of the manual steps I did, so I could just press a button to retrace all of my steps and do it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, the time server project is pretty awesome, but there's a bigger project that I'm working on that's kind of hidden inside of it. So in the next year or so, like I said, there's some people who are interested in what I'm working on. There's going to be something really, really big this summer.
Awesome.
I have a feeling I'm going to be back on here talking about stuff.
I'll have you back on happily.
Yeah.
All right, well, that is going to do it for episode 426 here on Talking Heads. Brought to you by Meter. Visit meter.com/craftcomputing. Sign up for a demo. See what they can do for your business and infrastructure. Thank you again to them for supporting the channel. If you like this video, thumbs up button, subscribe. Links to Vince's channel, Circuit Rewind, down in the video description as well. Join us in the Discord. Get access to that via the Patreon. We'll be hanging out there for probably the next couple hours or so in voice chat. So if you want to keep this conversation going, patreon.com/craftcomputing. Get joined in, join the voice chat, and should be a good time. Other than that, very exciting video coming out tomorrow. Data center tour
Ooh, I'm excited. Actually.
Very unexpected data center tour that I got to go on last week. Also, while I was there, found an Oregon company that is doing something very, very interesting with renewable energy and data center hosting. So that one is also worth a check out. That's both of those are going to be in the same video tomorrow. So make sure to sign in tomorrow. That's going to be a really fun one.
Yeah. Speaking of data center tours, real quick. Like, I've mentioned my mother's workstation. I've actually taken my mother into a data center.
Nice.
And I'm like, by the way, Mama, this is my job. It's going to be noisy.
This Oregon company that I found at GTC, wave generation self-contained data centers.
Okay. That's a lot of words.
Floating, untethered, 1 megawatt data center.
Oh, so that's like 2 GPUs then. Whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like one full rack of TR 300s, right? Yeah, they're making towers that they will set in the open ocean that have solid state pumps that drive turbines that power the data centers. They have closed loop direct dye liquid cooling that flows through a series of radiators that is interacting with the seawater to dissipate the heat.
It flows through a series of tubes to provide the internet?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. But each tower can generate about 1 megawatt. It's pretty fun.
Do they need GPSs to track their location?
Yes.
I know a guy who plays with GPSs.
They're an Oregon company. They're going to do some more large-scale testing this summer. I'm actually hoping to go out on a boat with them. So
that would make for a badass video.
Right? That's what we're hoping to do. So very early talks, but yeah, where it's like, hey, Oregon, hey, let's make something happen. This could be fun. And they're like, yeah, let's keep this conversation going. So hopefully that keeps going, but more on them tomorrow, more on the data center tour tomorrow. Other than that, I think we'll see you all next week. Cheers, everyone.
More good news.
More good news. Yeah. Only good news next week. That's my stipulation. Hopefully.
Totally for it.
Please, good news. Just maybe one good news. One good news. Good night, everyone.